Chapter 2. After I finished the hot bread I took to walking the town, I was always looking for a coin for my services. I would offer to water horses, help out at the local gunsmith, or whatever I could find to make a little money. I even offered to help Miss Devine, but she said it was no place for a self-respecting young man. I walked towards the stores, hoping for someone new in town that I could persuade some work out of. "Hey, Chance, can I talk to you?" I turned to look and it was Paxton. "What do you want, Paxton?" "Chance, I just wanted to say sorry for my attitude there in the store. I know you have it tough, and sometimes I get a bit spoiled and forget my manners." My inclination was to not trust him any more than a sidewinder buried up to his neck in the sand. This boy'd sell out his own mama if he could. "I don't know, Paxton. Listen, Chance, let me make it up to you." "Make it up to me? What do you have in mind?" "I was thinking we could go over to the general outfitting store and I could put some supplies on the account. A nice new blanket and some new shoes." "I don't know, Paxton. That sounds too good to be true. Listen, I know you have good reason not to trust me, but I'm turning over a new leaf for myself. This will be my grand gesture to prove it." I thought long and hard. I knew that hard winter was coming, and I hadn't had a new pair of shoes since I can remember. Certainly that old horse blanket I was sleeping under had seen its day. Well, I guess so. My daddy used to say sometimes you just have to take a leap of faith. That's why my name is Chance. You couldn't rightly name a young boy Faith, so the closest thing to it was Chance. Paxton and I headed toward the general outfitting store. I could see Annabelle outside with her pa by the post office. The post office was right next door to the outfitting store. Paxton and I walked up to the outfitting door. He didn't say a word to Annabelle. Now that should have been odd to me, but I couldn't get my head out of the winter lying under my new blanket with my warm shoes covering my feet. We walked into Mr. Lawden's store, and immediately I could see Mr. Lawden and the sheriff. Instantly a terrible feeling came over me. "I told you, Mr. Lawden, that I caught the thief," said Paxton. I immediately started to back up. "What do you mean, thief?" My eyes darted back and forth quickly between the three of them. The sheriff threw down a command. "You stop right there, young man." "What's this all about, Mr. Lawden?" "Chance, I'm surprised at you." "Surprised about what?" "I thought the chocolate that Paxton brought this morning would be enough for you. I had a full sheet and only sold 2. But when I returned from the back room, there was 3 empty spaces. I didn't do it." "Well, Chance, you've been known to steal a thing or two in your time," said the sheriff. I again insisted. It wasn't me. Why would you think it's me, Mr. Lawden?" "Well, initially I didn't, but Paxton was kind enough to tell me what had happened." I glared over at Paxton. "He told me how he felt bad about how he treated you earlier this morning, and that he was going to try to make it right by you two. He told me that you returned to the store with him looking for a blanket and shoes. He said he called for me, and when I didn't answer, which would make sense because it was hard to hear when I'm working in the back room, you decided it was easy pickings, grabbing the chocolate and making a run for it." Paxton explained that his generosity only went so far, and he couldn't condone thieving and had to turn you in. He even tried to pay for the missing piece if it meant keeping you out of trouble. "Oh, you lying yellow belly!" I darted for Paxton, grabbing his shirt, pulling him to the ground. I immediately felt a big, strong hand grab the back of my shirt, pulling me off of Paxton. I could now see Annabelle and her pa in the distance looking in the door at all the commotion. Annabelle had a disappointed look on her face. "Sheriff, I didn't do this." "Chance, I have a witness that says you did, but he's lying." "Well, do you have any proof of that?" I lowered my head because I knew that I didn't. "No, sir, I don't." "Well then, Chance, you're going to have to come with me." I walked out of the general outfitting store with my tail between my legs because I knew I'd been had. Annabelle stood watching the sheriff walk me out of the door to the jailhouse. As I walked by, I could see that her eyes were welling up with tears. I just looked back at the ground in shame. I could hear Paxton as he followed us out. You can put a shiny new suit on vermin, but they're still underneath it all as vermin. You try to help some people, and this is what you get. Good day to you, Annabelle. Hope to see you soon. Good day, Mr. Bailey. The sheriff walked me over to the local jailhouse, putting me in one of the 2 cells. You know, you can be hung for doing things like this. You did say for doing things like this. It sure would be a shame, Sheriff, for someone to be hung when they didn't do it. I laid back on the cot, putting my hands behind my head. Yes, being in trouble was no fun, but it sure was better than sleeping on the ground, and I did at least get a couple square meals per day. The front door opened and in walked Miss Devine. She paid no mind to the sheriff walking straight through to me in the back room. Chance, you little Jasper, didn't I just ask if you were stealing? Yes, ma'am, you did, but I didn't do this. Miss Devine paused for a long while. Miss Devine walked back in the front room and began speaking to the sheriff. Sheriff, the boy says he didn't do it, and I know his mind. If he says he didn't do it, then he didn't. Now you know, Miss Devine, that's not enough for me to let Chance go. Especially since Mr. Walker, Chance's pa, is the reason that Mr. Westbrother is in prison for life. Had Mr. Walker not goaded him into a fight over the Civil War thing, it would have never happened. You know Mr. West has not and will never forgive him for that, even if it costs them their life. I'm sorry, I just can't see fit to let him go. After a long pause, unless we could work some sort of arrangement. What sort of arrangement? The sheriff answered with a much quieter voice. Now you know, Sheriff, that I don't involve myself with the gentlemen callers. And I'm not asking you to. First, I'm not a gentleman caller. We're making a deal for this boy's freedom. Secondly, this wouldn't be a business transaction. It'd be more like a favor to me to help see the light to let Chance go. With little to no evidence, I would be hard-pressed to hold him. You see how that works? Even though they were talking quieter, I could still hear most everything they were saying. Miss Devine, I yelled, don't do it, don't do it. You quiet down back there, Chance. Now they really got quiet. I could hear whispering in the front, but it was really quiet now, and I was unable to hear what they were saying. I faintly could hear Miss Devine reluctantly agreeing to what the sheriff was saying. After some lengthy discussion, Miss Devine appeared in the front of the cell door. Chance, I'll see you tomorrow. She turned and walked out as fast as she had walked in. After she left, the sheriff walked in the back and stood in front of my door, picking his teeth with an old toothpick. I guess, Chance, there's a silver lining in everything. It just goes to show you that everyone has a price. You should get some rest, seeing that we have a big night ahead of us. I felt sick to my stomach knowing that Miss Devine would have to go against everything she believed in. How could I be so stupid trusting a sidewinder like Paxton West?